So guys, we covered in the last previous class the Python theory, some of the Python theory, which are like Python print, Python comments, variables, open, inbuilt, input, data types. Okay, so today I'll start with the for loop iteration. We have conditions and some of other remaining theory. Then I'll start showing you some of the labs for the day. This is what something we covered in the last class. All right, so let me start with for loop iterations, or let me write it this way. Loop iterations, which consist of two types. One is for loop and then while loop. So while loop in return is of two types. One is called finite while loop, and the second one is infinite. Okay, so let me show you the scenario for for loop. When do we need for loop? Let's say I would have taken SSH over on first device. I make use of login process. Once the login is successful, I take the, let's say, show commands. I take the print of this particular thing, whatever I collected. So same way, I might have taken the next command, the print of this, show run, the print of that. You see the number of lines are getting increased. You can come up with some logic of iterating the process so that it will cut down number of lines. So where do you think we can cut down? So one for loop, I can think about adding the devices because I might deal with multiple devices. So I take this out. Let's say I keep it somewhere here. I call a list or something. And within the list, I define all my devices, hundreds of devices. And then in the for loop, I tag them. I say that for single in multiple device, and then follow the rest of the repetitive process. So this becomes my one for loop for now. Later on, as per the requirement, I see that I'm also doing some repetitive process here. So why not keep them in a multi command variable? I can say that multi commands. And I keep this. Okay. And instead of keeping them in number of lines, I take that out. I just add one for loop. I say that for single CLI in multiple command, take the print of each at a time. Okay, so instead of writing number of lines, you just reduced it. Sorry, any doubt? Okay. Okay, I'll also show you how the, let's say this is a nested for loop condition. So in the case of nested for loop condition, which triggers first and what happens to the second for loop? Okay, let me show one example of that. Say for example, this is two list here. We have the first list in the for loop iteration, and we have also put the second iteration. So to make it more interesting, what I will do is I'll keep the IP addressing. Okay. And over here, I'll keep the show commands this way. Now, when I execute this, you see how the output would come up. See, the output is this. That means first you do the SSH. Your script is going to make a SSH to this, will trigger this. The connection will remain with the same device, will fetch the second command and the output of third command. So first device, all the three commands are fetched. Then it goes to the second device and it will fetch one after one the three command. Then it goes to third device and it will do the third remaining three command. So this is what happens in the for loop. Okay. If you had only one for loop, then the behavior would be, let's say, this way. Multiple device equals to, you'll keep the device list in the list format. You will add a for loop for single device in multiple device and print single device. We can say that SSH2 single device. Okay, run this. See, so when you have only one for loop, you're just taking the SSH connectivity to that. It's making use of one after one connection. But you also know that when you connect to the box, you will perform some action. You might fetch, you might configure, you might take backup, you might do whatever you want. So the behavior is it takes the connection to the device, perform the action, then goes to second, perform the action. So instead of writing 20, 30, 40 lines, number of devices you have and number of lines you write, it's better you make the process. This is like a process now. You can add any number of device. You can keep even hundreds of device here. Doesn't matter. Yes, Manisha, any doubt?
Yes. I'm just still trying to understand what is single device. What are we trying to define there?
Okay. See, this is the list of the, this is the name of the list, and this is the name of the for loop. So
Okay, so
here,
that's the name of the for loop. Okay.
yes, because if you see here in the example, for x in ADJ, that is nothing but x is the name of that first for loop. And then when we say for y, which is the name of the second for loop, which is associated with fruit. So remember, for loops are to be associated with the main for loop, and you give a name to that particular for loop, and that you call it anywhere. This could have been anything, XYZ. If it is XYZ, then this is also XYZ. So basically, what happens with XYZ, I'll tell you technically. So XYZ at a time is gonna collect data from multi-device. First, it will take the index of 0, fetch, do the SSH, trigger all the commands on that. Then in the next attempt, in the next iteration, XYZ becomes multi-device index of 1.
Oh,
Okay.
understood. So it's
Yeah,
more like a placeholder, like one by
correct.
one.
Yes, placeholder concept.
We used
Okay,
to generate patterns kind of thing using this earlier. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's patterns kind of. Okay.
Yeah, so this is
Mm-hmm.
how it's gonna take one after one and keep processing the flow in the backend.
Understood. And this you can do it with the list. Can you do it with the dictionaries or set?
This we normally see when it comes to SSH the device and taking multiple command. We make use of the list method itself because they are indexable. You can apply it to any which are indexable. If you add it for dictionary, might be the output what you are expecting right now is not the same. But you can do with the dictionary as well for a different perspective. Usually, dictionary is used to store the login credentials. Okay, all this credential that we take SSH that we can store in the dictionary pattern. And to take the SSH, list is better. That is why I said you list and dictionary are the two which would be highly utilized, not the rest of the two.
Hey, Sagar, this is not scalable, right? See, now we have multiple devices. In that case, we have to give some path, right, in Notepad or something. In that case, we should give the file name right here.
See, you can give anything. You can give a list. You can give an external file. You can give a Excel. You can give
Okay.
a Google Drive sheet as well.
Okay.
Okay, but you give it anything, but you have to convert it into list itself. Then only the process will so run.
Okay. List has to, it has to convert to list. Okay.
Yes. So your source will come up here, and all the source you have to read it using the open method. And if you are having any additional libraries like Excel need additional library and Google Drive need additional library. So once you fetch the data, you have to ultimately convert into list and then for loop comes into place.
Okay. For that commands, we
Sagar,
need to put a separate path, right? I mean, another notepad or something, right? Like,
Yes, you will keep the path here. See, if you keep a path here, you will read them in a string, convert into list. It will start coming over here. Let's say now this list of, I give it this way. Okay. So it will,
okay.
I actually, I don't need to convert it and show you like this. There is a way to convert it into list by just adding split line method. So whatever it is reading on the external path, it will be now in a string pattern. It will convert into list, and this we source to the for loop.
Okay. And another thing is we need to check whether it is reachable before doing this, right? That should be another script or line of code that does that, right?
See, it is not necessary that for every script you need to check. That can be one requirement where you need to find the live device or the failed device.
Correct.
During the execution, what we normally do is if we are given 100 device and if something is failing, we capture them in a different sheet saying that these failed due to authentication. This 20 are successful. This 20 failed due to timeout issue. Might be device are down or not up. So that we normally use it. It's
Okay, it's not like a prerequisite kind of thing. It should be post the script is run, correct? Like
see, there is nothing like pre or post. It's requirement. I mean, if one needs that, we can implement. If one don't need, we don't want to do that. So there is
correct.
no
See,
nothing.
now
Yeah.
basically what is our company scenario? We have hundreds of, I mean, more than thousands of switches here. So I got a list to make the check the list where what of the switches are reachable. First, I need to check that condition that this is reachable, right? Then only I can go ahead for take all these commands. Correct.
Yeah. So that is your requirement. I'm telling. It may not be requirement for other person, other
Okay.
company. Okay. So for
Okay.
your condition, we can add that. We can see that. Okay. But not required that it is required for different purpose, because for a different person might be his intention is to push the config. He is given
Right.
with 100 device, and in that 100 device might be 80 device are successful. He can generate a notepad saying this got successfully configured. The remaining 5 device got timed out issue. He can capture then that in a different notepad, and the remaining he can capture in a different notepad saying this failed. So usually what they do after the window, they email those failed device to the client. They will fix this, they raise a new maintenance window, and then they re-implement this. So you're getting it right. It's about a requirement. There is no standard that for every script we will add everything and just keep it like that. So it's like requirement thing.
Okay. And in case of now, consider we have multi-vendor. In that case, we have to add multiple for loops, correct? Like consider some
No,
Cisco.
it is not about multiple for loop. We have a different method to handle that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have to do some SSH auto detect, find the device type, then
Okay.
put the if condition, if else condition. If I find this vendor, then do this. If I find this vendor, then do this. If I find this vendor, then do this.
Oh,
That
okay. That's a different method
condition.
altogether. Okay. Okay.
Yes, condition. For
Yeah.
loop will be one only. Okay, one
Okay.
for loop only, but different conditions will keep it.
Okay. Thanks.
Sagar, just a quick question. How does it work with device name? So that, because list you are giving the IP addresses, right?
Yes.
But like if we take a scenario where okay, I have the devices in my Excel sheet, right?
Mhm.
But that device name is mapping to the IP address, correct?
Yes.
Because what the output I want the output in associated with the device name. So is it list going to work? How list going to work, or is it we need to do like a dictionary key and value?
See, there are two things now. One thing you need to clarify me, you're receiving a Excel only for the host name or with the IP address.
Let's say I'm getting with host name.
So you're getting the host name, you can give the host name itself. But do you have the DNS resolution? That is a concern on your end then. Because that DNS
Uh,
resolution should happen in the enterprise itself. And that you can test by doing a normal SSH from your machine. So when you do a normal machine to your remote devices using host name, and if that works, that means you have the proper DNS settings in your uh, system. Once you connect to VPN or something, you have a proper DNS. So in that case, you can add the host name itself.
okay.
Yeah,
And if
and
it's not resolving,
it is not
then we have
resolving,
to.
then you have to use the IP address. But at the end, when you're taking the backup and there, if you want to add the hostname, that you can do it. Once you do the SSH to the device using the device
Mhm,
IP, then you fetch the
mhm.
host name. There are certain commands to fetch host name. That host name you can add in the backup files or the name of in the name of the backup file, like backup for 1.1.1 R01, something like that.
Oh, okay. Okay, understood.
Yeah. So it's a
Thank you.
the first connection is DNS dependent. The second
Yeah.
one is not DNS. It's on us. We can do as per our requirement.
Okay, so with multiple device, the best way to go is like list, right? That's the
Yeah,
best.
list is for everything. I mean, even if we are reading Excel or the Google Drive, it's the list only that we will add to the for loop condition.
Okay. Okay, no worries. Thank
Yeah.
So I have a question, Sagar. So
Right.
for the for loop condition, right? So every time we need to give the name. Is it true for the name is being tagged to that source always? Um,
Yes, this
did you get that?
the XYZ here has a
Yeah,
special purpose as well that I have put in 47, 48, 49. So
correct.
when we
So
call in the later down in the lines, it basically act as to pull one of the data as a placeholder as well.
okay. So the condition is true until that list is ending, or like
Correct,
how does it?
correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
got
See
it.
the
Okay,
condition here.
yeah,
Uh,
three. Yeah,
yeah. In the case of this, let's say I have list
yeah.
where the data
Three
comes to the,
IPs. Yeah.
yeah, we it comes to the for loop one by one from, let's say, first this data comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So it will check, is this the last entry? Answer
Okay.
is no. It's a boolean no. Now what it does, let me reiterate the process. But meanwhile, whatever I have asked to do, like taking show command, taking print, or taking backup, whatever, that happens while it's reiterating. Now the second data goes in. Is that the last element? No. Again, the process reiterate until that last element has been met, and there will be end of this. So it says that is there any more element left? No. Now the condition is matching. So that is yes here. And you're out of the for loop.
Okay, so it is considering source as a condition. It could be an integer, it could be value, it could be anything.
Yes.
So here we have a list. So
Yes.
number of okay, got it. Indexes in the list will be considered and it will go through. Got it.
Yes.
Sure.
There will
Thank you.
be Boolean yes or no, depending
Okay.
upon condition. If once the condition is met, it is going out of the for loop. And then
Got
whatever you have the statement lines, that
Okay.
gets printed up, or that gets actioned up. And also
Got it.
when you keep any blocks which are meant to be for loop, try to keep them within the indentation blocks, okay? Indentations. So you see this block, this is kept for a some specific reason to show that all this are part of this for loop.
That's okay.
Okay, you see that a small minus symbol here. That's nothing but that's the section now. So if you
Got
just
it.
click here, see everything gets collapsed inside this. So you
Got it.
expand this, you get this. Okay.
Okay.
And the
Yeah.
minute you come out of this, let's say you keep any print function line here, 50th line. So that means once this is going out, once this is done, you immediately start with line 50 then.
Okay.
Okay. Otherwise, it's not a part of for loop. For loop will just process till here. It will go back. It will process till here. It will go back, process till here until the condition is going through. Once the condition is going through, then that means this is done, and it has to start with the next line. So I'm not keeping them in the indentation block. Otherwise, this also would part of the for loop itself.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it. Yeah. Thanks for explaining. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So now we go to while loop iteration. See, for loop, I'll give you, I already gave you example, but I'll give you one more time. All your device SSH, taking off show commands, might be taking off CLI push. These are all examples for for loops. Okay. You keep the list and then loop it with the for loop and you process it. Now for the while loop iteration, let's say that finite, you can also say this as a calculated method. You will put some condition. I will start with this number. I'll end at this number. For every process, for every iteration, I'll increment by 1 or 2, whatever. These are all like depending upon calculations. I totally need 3 attempts. I need only 4 attempts. I need only 2 attempts. I need only 10 attempts. Okay, it's not about the data coming in. It's about how many iterations I need. I decide myself. I'll tell you in which in which scenario the finite would come into picture. Let's say Cisco offers us 5 multiple failed attempts. Okay, if I go to any device, so usually when you take a SSH of this, what happens if you put a wrong typo there? It will re-ask you that you entered a wrong password, retry this. So we enter the password. Let's say if that's wrong, it again asks for us. So there are certain 4 to 5 attempts provided to us by all the devices, right? Even F5 does the same. Palo Alto might give you 10, might be F5 give you 10, Cisco might give you 5 attempts. Usually these attempts are by default not in the Python scripting. In the Python scripting, it only gives us 1 attempt. If I put a wrong command, my script terminates. Then I have to reinitiate, retry. If once again it's not good, then restart the process. So this process actually you can come up with a logic using while loop iteration and the finite loop iteration. You can say that my device is letting me to have 5 failed attempt. So I leverage that concept, that fundamentals. So I can go with the calculated method. This is like a template. You just need to change the numbers there. You can give any number, any incremental, any conditions there. It's like something like a template. So you can say that you need to get started with something. Let's say you start with some number like 100. You give a condition. While I cannot be greater than 106. Okay, this is just a condition. I is nothing but it's 100 for now. So you can also read it while 100 cannot be greater than 106. So what does that mean? You can have 100, you can have 101, you can have 102, 103, 104, 105. But it cannot be 106 because you have put that angular bracket. If you would have kept this, then yes, I can be also 106. So how many attempts? 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So altogether 7 attempts would have been there. But as I told you, Cisco provides 5 attempts. So it's like a calculated method, right? So I'll just reduce this to 5. So 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is also giving me 6 because I'm having the equivalent symbol. But if I remove the equivalent symbol, now it's going to give me 5 attempts. 100, 1, 2, 3, 4. So see, this is also not required. 4. Because 100 is also an number to be counted. You're starting with the 100 number. 100 is first attempt. 101 is the second attempt. Then the third, then the fourth, and then the fifth. Let's say this is for a 5 attempt process. And you can print it just to see what attempt you are dealing with. You can say attempt. This is attempt number I. And as you process this, you also need to increment it. Remember, that is how the conditions start meeting them. Okay, this is like some template. You give any number depending upon your calculated method. So now if I execute this, see, it says that this is attempt number 100. It started with 100, 101, 102, 103. Because I have said that it cannot be greater than 104, neither it can be equal to 104. So now you see I get 4 attempts. But let's say the Cisco is offering 5 attempts. So you just increase one more condition. Or you can go with this, or you can go with equivalent as well, which is also gonna give you 5 attempts there. See. Now to make it simple, what most of people do, they will start with 1, they will keep it 4, and then they increment it. So now this is 4 attempt. Let's say you want 5 attempts, increase it to 1. So this is SSH for the first time. If you're good, you can break the flow and start with the SSH. If the first attempt is wrong, the script must give you the second attempt. If it is still not good, then you get the third attempt. If it is not good, then you give the fourth attempt. Let's say you give you give the right credential now. So you don't need to get into the fifth attempt, right? So you will apply something called break, something like this. Okay, you will apply break. That means if you are meeting the condition, you're good with some condition, you have to put a condition here. Like if you see either the user privilege or the enable mode, okay, then you print like it is successful connection. It is successful connection. And you would like to break it. Why do we do this additional 3 steps is I don't want to get into the while loop process even though I'm entering the right credential. That is why. So this is what we do in the real device. Right now it will not work because this only works when I finish my SSH connectivity, and that I have not inserted the feature yet. So once I do the SSH, if I see this condition matching up, it will print success, it will break the flow, and whatever I'm supposed to take, the CLI output or taking backup, whatever I have to do it will do that, and it will go back to the second device. And the second device, the same fundamentals. If I type a wrong credentials, then it asked me for 5 attempts. So this is what is a calculated condition. And this is what the real case study in terms of production. So any doubt here?
Yeah. So sorry. So if how do we decide we take an str a string there? So in the print statement when you're printing that.
See, this
Yeah.
is nothing but I have concatenated two different data type. One is the string, and
Okay.
if I would not kept it as str and only keep it I is nothing but number. So you cannot add two different data types. String and numbers cannot be added. So that is why I have to convert this into a string method.
Got it. Thanks.
Okay. That is why I put
So
a string.
Sagar, can we put string and then double quoted I?
You can put double quoted I like this.
Yeah, a string plus string, or no? Will it
This
work?
you mean to say this way?
Yes, yes.
No, this will not work. Because here I will be treated as a data, but I have to convert I as into string. That's a two different thing. See, for example,
Okay, so
I'll give you one example.
yeah.
X equals to 100, y equals to 200. Print x plus y. What would be the result?
300.
300.
300. Yeah.
If I do this, then
It will be error.
it will be error.
Yes,
don't-
right. That
Why?
is string, right? String plus you're adding two strings or something. It is not like
Yeah. So if I
100,
add,
200.
sorry.
It is 100 to 100.
100,
Yes,
Yes.
100,
200.
200.
Yes. So it is no more numbers. It is now just a string which has been concatenated. Okay. So same thing here. When you go with this, I will be no more number. It will be just the data itself. So I is considered as a data. Say, for example, if I put uh, x equals to in a string notation, the resulting would be, sorry, if I take a print, the result would be I only. It will treat it as data itself. But I actually need something taken from this way. I need that data coming in. So it should result in a 1, 2, 3 fashion. So that is why I don't keep an inverted comma inside that, but I would convert that into string. Okay.
Sagar, just one question. Like, see, this while condition should be above that for loop, like the devices we are parsing, or like how is it?
Uh,
How do
mm,
you keep that?
it will be within that, right? Because your SSH will start here. Okay. So to
Okay,
start the SSH, the for loop would be on the top.
okay,
Your for loop is there, your SSH is there, then only you will start with the attempts. So the while loop will be within for loop. So you will
within
keep
for loop.
indentation block.
Okay, okay. Thanks.
Got it right.
Ah,
Yes. Any doubt? All right. I'll start with infinite loop. As the name says, it is infinity. When do we need this? So we need it. Let's say you're running a periodic backup without human intervention, because you might know that taking backup is good. But taking backup also, most of scenario, you might see that the engineer come and hit the run button, and then the process starts, and then the backups happen. But what if that engineer is on holiday or vacation, or he has resigned, and there's a new person joining in and he has not been provided with the knowledge, right? So we can completely automate even the backup process. There are certain module which will add on top of this backup script, and we can put the condition If it's Friday 5 p.m., then this should trigger automatically without anyone hitting a click button on that. Or if it's daily basis, then I can say every day 6 p.m. should schedule this, or every 1 second. Let's say you're performing some other task or something, every 5 seconds you want to trigger, every 10 minutes you want to trigger, every 1 hour you want to, you can put those conditions, and then this keeps running. Okay, so while you keep running the script, you will see it is always in a green check. That doesn't mean that it's consuming the process as well in the backend. The script will be in the ideal state but powered on. Once the condition met, it will process it, so that during that process it might take some utilization. Once again, go back to idle state until the condition is met. So for this process to run, we need something, the script remains always up and don't get terminated. So for this, we use the while loop infinite iteration. The only concept is that the condition should be true, so that script never goes down. So let's say I keep anything, let's say I equals to 1, and I will put the condition in such a way without increment this, that this always is the same thing. So now let's say that backup process. Okay, something like this. And if I just execute this, okay. See. Now this is a script which will never go down. And in this script, I have to put another module or another library, which will help me to put the exact condition of timestamp. Because here I don't have timestamp process. It is just blindly running. And if it runs blindly, my process, my CPU will increase of my server wherever I'm running. See, it's spiking up. So I don't want to do that. So the best option is I will insert another modules. So just let me show you what module I will use it at that time. There is a module called schedule module. Okay. This is an inbuilt Python library. Using this, I have some condition. I can say that every, let's say, Wednesday at so and so. I can say every Friday at so and so. Or if I want to take it every day, then I can say that every day at so and so time. These are the two things which is used in the production, either once in a week or every day. You also have some timers that you can do it for a different task, not from backup at least. So if you put that condition, instead of this running blindly, it will only run at that part of time. And the condition will help you not to get terminated from the job. See here. Now this will not get terminated. It's a continuous flow. So what happens here is, as per the diagram, as per this, let's say that you are entering the while loop iteration. This condition is checked. If the condition is true, you will iterate the process. Okay, let's say the second thing, the condition is checked, it is reiterating. Once the condition is failed, then you go out of it. But in this scenario, there is no going out. Whereas the previous example of the while, there was some condition set. We had a incremental step. So after certain things, it violates the condition and it comes eventually out of this, but not in the finite. So from the case studies, I gave you the example of taking a backup. So this is where you can insert this 2-3 lines and make your script more dynamic. Yes, guys, any doubt?
So the schedule comes inside this while loop, Sagar?
Schedule will be called on the top.
Okay.
And the condition will be placed. See, there is an example here. I'll show the example itself on the library page.
Okay.
See, the condition is here. You
Okay.
see, you are calling necessary libraries. You are calling the job. Basically, job here it says very simple thing. But in our condition, we will take the SSH to that. We will run the CLI commands, whatever CLI commands I want to do, and I will place the condition. This is my condition. And then I will make the while loop iteration, which is always true.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so this is how the sync will happen in a real script as well.
Okay. Got it. Thanks.
Okay, so guys, what we will do now is we will start seeing some script now. And meanwhile, when I face or when I see some new concept coming, I'll explain you there itself. Okay. So far, what we learned, we can get started with a script for at least. So I'll take one small script now. I'll not go into much complex thing. Some simple script we can see, like taking SSH and all those things. Let me access my lab. I believe you guys have your lab access, and I think those Palo Alto and F5 sorted, right? Arjun, you were trying that.
No, Sagar. There's some issue with Palo and F. I don't know. It's not booting up for some reason. I'm not sure.
Oh,
Maybe
okay,
some
okay.
image issue or some setting. I'm not sure. It is not coming up. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. We'll fix that. I mean, because in past we have given in the GNS, so it should work.
Okay. Okay.
So, guys, once you get the device, you only need one thing from this, that is the IP address. And the lab which we are giving you, that's a brand new devices. So don't expect that we will do the pre-config and give you and you would be ready to start with the automation. So you have to do one time config. Okay. So I'll tell you what is that basic minimum config that you need to do on them. And this is a manual process. It's not that we can do something here. So let's say I show you for the Cisco vendor for now. So we go to the config terminal. We will change the host name. We will say host name as R01 or whatever of your choice. You will go to the interface. The interface here, if you see from the labels, they are fast Ethernet 0/0. Give a no shutdown. If it is a router, then well and good, you can start with IP address, but you see that there are certain switch also. So for switch, you need to give a additional command line, which is no switch port. If it is a switch, if it is a router, then don't give that. Okay, you just start with IP address. As I told you, we will go with the DHCP. That's the simplest option. You don't think about configuring a static IP because then there will be a duplicate problems in our lab. So we are giving DHCP itself. We have a slash class B network which has thousands of IP, 65,000 of IP. So that's fine. You just give IP address DHCP. And if you want, you can give a description. Otherwise, not an issue. You can just call it as management. Come out of this, then make a local username. You can configure username, privilege 15, password Cisco. Configure the RSA crypto. Okay, before doing that, you have to do a domain name. Otherwise, the crypto will make a problem. Crypto key generate RSA modulus 1024, line VTY 024, local login. That means you have already said this is what you want to use it. We are not going with any complicated things like TechAs, AAA, dual factor, because there are some people in every batch for whom this is a new thing. So we will just keep it short for now. We will just have a local user. In your production, you know that already the AAA would be configured and you have the login. So you don't worry about this at all. You will start with the automation day number one itself. Since this is a lab, brand new lab, you have to configure your own device and save this config so that next time you don't repeat the process.
Hey,
And give
Sagar,
it,
that is login local, right? Not local login.
yeah, login locally.
Yeah.
Execution timeout 0 to 10 second. And then you can make transport input SSH. And then do a end and do a write memory. Once you do this write memory, then you don't need to kind of reapply the config again and again. Okay. So you take this copy paste of this, copy this, and you can go to, let's say, take some device for now.
It's in lab itself. I think they have put it in as some text. I see
Yes,
that.
yes. I have kept in the GNS itself. But again, some people are too early in their career, so they may not know what to do. I'm just showing it once.
Okay.
Show IP into brief. Okay, this is having a IP. I don't want to disturb it. Let's see what about this device. Show IP int brief. Okay, this also got it. Also, there is a bug in the lab. Sometimes you might see yourself configured with all of them, but you're not receiving an IP address. So the processes you delete and reconfigure, etc. But if it is happening that way, then don't worry. Just take another device. Don't spend or don't waste time on trying to bring the IP. That's the virtualization problem. So not an issue. Okay, I'll try on the routers itself. So whatever thing I configured, let's say it's a R02 and it's a fast Ethernet. See, see, you also need to remember for a router, the management was fast Ethernet 0/2. But for the rest of the devices, it's gig 0/0, gig 0. So that you need to change it while you copy paste. So this will become gig 0/0. For routers over there, it will show 0/0. Might be in your GNS that would be a bit different because I'm using something like EVNG. So bit different, but ultimately it does the same thing. So I'll take this device and I'll paste it here. Right click that. Okay, see, I think something broke in some part.
I think the conft hash, right?
Yeah,
That is.
yeah. Conf t ash. We don't need that. See, no switch port will say a wrong command because this is a router finally, but that's fine. What is not required, it will get rid of it. See, now it has also saved it. So for some reason, if my device goes down, comes up, or I start on the next day, my config will still remain the same. So once you have configured, you need to check if you received an IP address or not. So here, see, I have this IP address. Once I have IP address, I will do very basic test before I conclude saying my script is not running well. Let's do some basic test. I will do a SSH and whatever admin that I created.
Sagar, can you make this font bold or bigger if you can go into properties? Yeah, much better. Thank you. It's too big, but I'm okay if everybody's okay.
Okay.
Fine, fine.
Okay. So here, okay, am I within that? Okay, let's see if I can do an exit. Okay, so as I was telling, we will do the basic test first. Show IP int brief. I receive an IP. That's a good sign that I have an IP right now. And before we start writing, it's better we do some checks like SSH has been working well with the device or not. Actually, these log messages are so fast enough that I'm losing out the IP on the second page.
You want to disable the CDP, but we need script to run, right? So
No, actually, the devices, the routers, what I have here is bit outdated than the switch. So there is some duplex also problem. But
okay.
again, I mean, networking thing, we don't need to worry. If I receive that IP address once, then my job is done. I think it is 27 dot 24, if I'm not wrong. 172.16.27.24. That is what I see here. Let me once validate.
It was 74, right?
Which one?
74, I
It's
think.
172.16.27.74. Yes, correct. 74. Okay. So once we have IP, then not to worry. You can give a try SSH admin and the management IP. It should give you the prompt to enter password. You have the password prompt, and yeah, you see you are within that prompt now. That means this device is working well. You can also try to see show line. So show line, you will see yourself connected. So that is fine. So that is one test that you should do it. The second test, you can also do it from the PyCharm or the tools. So there is a option here at very bottom where it's read as terminal. So if you click on that terminal, okay. So over here, you can initiate the ping. So ping will start working. You will also initiate the SSH. So ultimately, this SSH must be present. So now it says it's ready to take the connection, but it says that there is a problem with the offering. The DH groups are not working. But don't worry, once we start writing the script, the library will take care of it. This is just a normal console or the putty sessions that we create, and we get this yes, no, and Diffie-Hellman problems. But once we start writing script, this will be taken care. Okay, but it is still better to know that my SSH is working good. If you check it on a different device like a switch or something, we should be able to get into the SSH mode. See, now this is 78, which is a latest device. Enter. See, this is what you get it. If the SSH is good, yes or no. Yes. Now you are within that. Okay, sorry. It will ask you for password. See, this is what the multiple attempts I was talking about. First attempt, second attempt, and then you're through. So now you have a output of whatever command from the terminal point of view. So these are some basic tests, because what happens is once the students start working on the day one, day two, they usually start blaming script is not working or etc. etc. Might be their SSH itself was not working. So first make sure SSH is working. Once you have done the basic testing, then go to file, create a new project or new Python file. You can say that my first Python script .py. Okay. Now we need to introduce the library, and we were discussing about SSH library. So we will first start with NetMiko. Now NetMiko is not a inbuilt Python program. See, Python is available. You can see at the bottom that my tool can detect Python. Okay, it says that it's on 3.9, but I don't have library yet. So libraries, if they are inbuilt library, then Python can handle it. But the libraries
Hey,
like
Sagar, just one question. So
yeah,
if you go to that topology, I
which
should go to the terminal server, or like where should I execute this script from? Like
on the same thing. Right now, it's on the same LAN network. So when you go to rack.networkjourney.com, when you log in, you have GNS, you power on the device. On the desktop, there is a icon for PyCharm.
oh, that's okay. We should initiate from there only. But what there was a terminal server, right? That is what I was thinking. Should we access that on the topology, right? There is nothing to do on that,
No,
right?
nothing to do on that terminal server. I think that is for Ansible, they kept it. Ansible, or if
Okay,
you want to run Python from Ubuntu system, then you can do it. Otherwise, this front end will be better for you to write and run it.
okay, okay.
Okay,
Got it.
so icon will be on the desktop itself. But I think icon has been missed. I will check with the backend team to add the icon on the desktop itself.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. So the libraries are add-ons. You go to file, go to settings. From settings, might be this would have been need to be expanded. So might be this would be something it would have been pointing you. So you go to the project, then go to Python interpreter, and here you have to download this library. So we will download NetMiko. So search for NetMiko. This is the main library. I'll click on the install package, which is at the bottom. It takes 2 to 10 seconds to download that. So where is it downloading? It's downloading from the GitHub. Okay. So wherever this NetMiko is located on the cloud, is downloading the complete package. This whole package is getting downloaded. So it will take some time, and also it needs internet connectivity for the first time until you have the NetMiko package being downloaded. So this download package in the backend, go and store here inside this folder called external library site package. You will see the folder called NetMiko. See here. So the entire package, including the templates, including various blocks, functions, everything is now with you on the local tool. You can start calling them and writing. And now you can also disable your internet. You don't need internet henceforth. So the internet was only needed first time when you were trying to download, because that needs to be downloaded from the cloud, and then you have it local. So rest of the call will not come to the cloud or something. It will happen in the local level itself. Okay.
So Sagar, can you show from beginning how to install that package? I missed.
See, file, settings,
Okay.
Python interpreter,
Okay.
and click on the plus symbol.
What about that project should be created or something?
Yeah,
Like,
as soon as when you open the PyCharm, See,
Okay.
for example, when as soon as you open the PyCharm, it would have already asked you to create project. So now at this minute, you don't need to recreate a project. You're already within a project. See, when you're loading up, it will first ask you
Okay.
to create a project.
Okay.
So once you have created the project, then only you get the option to put the library. See, like this, the page loaded up, right?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this PyCharm. Actually, I'm with ideally most of the time. So yeah.
Okay. So right now I'm already in a project. Yes,
Okay.
tell me.
So this PyCharm is actually built in the lab, right?
Uh, you mean to say whether it's present or not, or I didn't get that question.
No. This is you just mentioned earlier that the PyCharm there is going to be an icon within the
Lab.
lab.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. It is. It will be there. So once you open that, it will ask you to create your project first. So once you create the project, then you go to File and then you start installing the library.
Python interpreter, right? There we have to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Python interpreter, and there will be plus symbol. So once you install it, it will also start showing you on the list of installed library, and whatever was the dependency. Let's say netmiko needs paramiko. Let's say netmiko needs a scp module. Let's say netmiko needs some json parsing. Let's say netmiko needs whatever it's needed, it will download automatically. You don't need to download one by one. So netmiko will take care of it. You selected netmiko as your library. Now it's netmiko's turn to take all the other and auto download for you. So it will download 4 to 7 additional things which is required for netmiko to run, or it might be in a outside uh, level of a netmiko, so the author has not recoded the thing. He is just dependent on them.
Okay. So this is fine, Sagar, but in some cases we use Python directly, right? In that case, pip something that are we
Yes.
using backend?
See, if you use the terminal server of that GNS, where I said it's a manual thing. You don't have PyCharm in a terminal server or Ubuntu, or if you're using the MacBook terminal over there, there is no, there is no, there is no, there is no front end there. So in that case, anything that you install would be via pip manager. Pip3 install netmiko. This is one of the package manager in the Linux. You also have something called as sudo apt netmiko. This is the package manager. Also, if you're using the CentOS, you have something called yum install netmiko. So these are all when you go with the manual methods.
Okay.
So Saga,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, when I typed Netmiko, I saw different options. I saw Netmiko's, there are Netmiko Balabit,
Yes,
Netmiko BSH, multi-hub.
yes. That happens with almost all the library.
Okay.
So you need to see the author. So that could be authored by different people.
Okay.
See, this is a different version. This is
Okay.
a different. Yeah. So you
So
check the first one.
I take the first one. Okay. Okay.
Do you
Okay.
have this instructions in workbook anywhere mentioned so that in case if
Yes,
we
it
have?
yes, it is there in that Google Drive. It is there.
I have not received access to that Google Drive nor the welcome kit. I haven't received anything.
1 second. See, usually what happens with this welcome kit is, since we would be sending like 10-20 people at a time, there is a high chances they get into the spam folders. So once check your spam folder. Let me confirm my side if it was sent or not. Have you filled the Google form, Manisha?
Yes, I did. I mean, we can talk that later. It's fine. Maybe
Okay,
it's a
okay.
class time. So I just wanted to let you know.
Okay, so those guys have not received but filled the Google form. Try once checking that spam folder as well or update folder. So sometimes it lands over there. All right. So once the library is with you, now what next? So now next thing is you need to call them inside your workspace, inside your Python script, because you might have hundreds of library downloaded. But how does your script know which library you want to take it? Because let's say you want to go with Nornia, but you might have Nornia, Netmiko, Paramiko, etc. in the backend. So this is where the I think I got disconnected and rejoined for some reason. I hope you guys can see my screen.
Yes, yes.
Some
Okay.
issue happened. Okay.
Okay. So there are two ways to call the library. You can call it just via this, or you can say from Netmiko import connect handler. Okay. So the difference between the two is here in the first line, you're calling the entire package. The entire package can consist of hundreds of blocks. Whereas in the third line, the second method, you're specifically calling the block that is required. So you might think, how would you know on the day one that what is that block? So that you learn either by experience, or once you read the documentation, you get to know what is their SSH module. So if you want to check the source code, let's say you can search it in this way. This is one of the way you can find it out. You can see what the connect handler does. Or if you read the Netmiko homepage, there would be a sample code. So all the library will have a sample code. So that should be like a kickstart idea for you. See, this is the command to install on terminal, server, or manual. And see, this is what I was talking about. So all the library, though it's a Google Drive, it's a Google Panda, the Panda library, or Netmiko, Nornier, or Ansible, they will keep a documentation with some dummy script. So you can take it from here. So this is what the block is. Now you want to check the block, what that block consists of, then you can see the source code. You can go and check for the source code. You will understand what happens there. So this is the source code, which is in the inside that Netmiko library that we downloaded. And as per this source code, it says that, so once you start processing this, it's just gonna check you one thing, that is device type. If you give a standard recognized device type, it is passing you to the next person, that is SSH dispatcher. If the device type is not good, if you give anything which Netmiko cannot recognize, then you get this error. Unsupported device type, currently supported are so and so. So you have to fix that device type so that the if statement works well. Then it goes to SSH dispatcher. Let's see what happens in the SSH dispatcher. So it basically needs all the base connection. So base connection is nothing but this. So as per the base connection, you need to provide IP, you need to provide the username, password. The SSH triggers up here. Okay. So first the template is selected, whether it's a iOS template, Juno's template, Arista template, Palo Alto. First that decision happens. Then it goes to the SSH connectivity. SSH is good, then you can run any command and you can fetch the output from the device. Okay. So for us, the connect handler is important. Connect handler will start the connection. And then once the device template is taken up, it will pass it to SSH dispatcher. initiate the SSH connection. And if this is good, then we get a success code 0 and the output terminal. Okay. So there are two ways, Netmiko and calling directly that particular block itself. When you go with the first method, you need to insert this library name for all the functions, something like this, which you might feel that it's something that you need to do repetitively. So you go with netmiko send command, netmiko send command. See, this process you need to do it. But if you call it in this manner, later on you don't need to add the package name. You can just call that block itself. You can say send command, or you can say send config, whatever you want to do it. And what has the developer shown you as the method? He has shown you this method. So we will follow this method itself. There are some library where we are using this method. So I'll show you that method. Not netmiko, might be some other library, like some uh, Excel reading libraries. They are using straight away the package itself, because we are not taking any SSH with those libraries. So those time I'll show you this method. For now, while we take the SSH, we know what block it is. Also remember, the name of the block can change. For netmiko, we have it as connect handler, which initialize the SSH connectivity. Similar way for Paramiko, we have something called SSH client. SSH client or invoke method, we call it. Similar way for PyNTC, we have something called as get network driver. When we go with the Nornia, we have something as init Nornia. Okay, so name depends on the developer. Whoever has made this or created this, he might have kept his own fancy names. So once you start building 2-3 scripts, then automatically you will remember these names, or you have the source code.
So
can
Saga, I have a question. So can we call connect handler is a function or a module?
It's a function. Function and modules are function. It's a function. It's not module. Module
Okay.
and
What
library,
about
it's same. Okay.
module and library is the same thing?
Yes. Function. This is functions. These
Okay.
are all function blocks. It is.
Good. Okay. Okay. Good.
All right. So once we call
So
this from
a question.
Netmiko, yeah.
So does this Netmiko and all vary to company? So they have an internal setup, or is it used globally? So like
Uh,
if we
yes. Yes. Okay. So here, in terms of Python automation, still there is nothing like official library or something. Some people also create their own libraries using Java or Python. If they have a good developers, they use their own library and then they make the scripts. But if for someone who do not have such developers, then they rely on libraries like Netmiko or Nornia. Okay, they just rely on them and their engineers or automation engineers start working on the scripts.
got it. Okay.
Okay, so for both the way, you need to have a library separate and the script separate.
Okay. Sure.
So right now we are writing the script, not the library. So we will focus on the script. So we say from netmiko import connect handler. All my device information, as I told you, I'll keep it in a dictionary pattern. So I say device information 1, 2, 3. I give this 1, 2, 3 just to show you the variables are user defined, because there are certain variables which needs to be as it is. So to just difference out them, what is mandatory and what is user based, I give this 1, 2, 3. So if you see 1, 2, 3, you can just change it to your own words as well, not a limitation or restriction. Okay, device info. Now we need few information that we need to supply. We need device type. Now this I cannot give it 123. Why? Because this things I need to fetch from the source code. So from the source code, I can take it directly. I can say this is the device type which is needed. So I keep as it is. These are the keys as well. And let's assume on the day one, I don't remember or I don't know what
Hey,
is
Sagar,
the
your audio is dropping.
for everyone or for
Not sure what
Not
others.
on my side.
Okay.
Audio is good.
okay,
Okay.
let me keep a ping as well. Just to see not dropping from my side. Okay. All right. So let's say on the day one, I'm not sure about the device type. I just keep some random thing because once it triggers an error, I can check and I can backfill this. Then what else I need? I need the IP address. So there are two ways to define them. So I think Saurav was asking about the username. So in that case, I go with this. If it is a device name like R01 dot network journey.com. But if I go with this, then I should make sure I have a proper DNS in my setup. Then only this will resolve. Or else there is an option to enter IP. You can go with IP as well, which would be in a string notation. So instead of host, give a IP and you can define this IP that you have with you over here. They can configure,
Sagar,
yeah.
in Ansible, like we have a host file where we map, right, device name to the IP
Yes,
addresses.
yes, we map
And
it
then,
there. Yes, yes.
so
That is
same thing we need to create.
not here. That is actually the local mapping we do in the Ansible inventory. So that will work within Ansible only, not
Yeah.
outside.
Okay.
Yeah, here that option is not available. Okay, then I need username. See, these are all the keys. So they are case sensitives. You just need to put them as it is. This is something which we created local users. Then let's assume password I pick up. Cisco, close it. Port numbers and enable secrets are optional thing because Netmiko by default will take use of SSH TCP22 itself. If you want to give a secret, then this is the key for that. So you can do that in case of secret. You can also make it input method and get pass. I'll come to that. Okay. But first, let's build a small script. Once you have the device login, now this device login needs to be supplied to this function. Okay. Connect handler. So to do that, let's call a transport channel name. Let's say the transport channel name where the read and write method should happen is called SSH123. You can give it any fancy name, net connect. Okay. You can give it as transport channel name, whatever you want to give it. Let me keep it just a simple word like SSH something, SSH123. And over here, I will call this block. I will say this function, keep it, and I'll say that I need to supply this data. Now, this is in a dictionary format, and you know that we can access dictionary by providing this method, but that is not a very good practice for us. I can go with this method where I need to define one by one. Okay, but I will not go. I don't think that method is a best practice because if we have 10 or 10 different things and we forget to mention, that's a lot of complication. This is a dictionary pattern. I can make use of two asterisk and call this. Now what I'm trying to do is I'm passing on the complete dictionary as a data inside this block, and I'm asking the connect handler to decompress it. So it will basically decompress or or it will unextract the process. And when it unextract the process or decompress it, it will fetch the data as per its need. So we know that connect handler only needs device type first. So it will do that. It will take that, process it. If it is good, then it will pass it on to SSH dispatcher where the rest of the details are needed. So it will take care by this process itself. We will not write another line to do that. Connect handler will do two jobs. Okay. The data was stored in a dictionary. That is why you kept in a two asterisk symbol. For some reason, the data was kept in a set format, data set. And I think this is the curly bracket you have. You remember from, I believe you remember from the last class. The set were represented via this curly brackets, and they were kept, and there is no key value mapping. They were kept this order, only the data, something like this. Let's say your data was stored in a set process. So in that case, not double asterisk, but single asterisk. Okay, but the logic behind that is you're uncompressing that, you're providing the complete data, it is uncompressing it. But what way you're providing, depending upon that, you have to give that. If it wasn't any process, neither dictionary, neither set, you're giving it data by data, then you do it manually. So you can define them manually. But I think the manual method is not gonna be scalable in the later on stages. The best part is dictionary. You take dictionary, put the keyword arguments, and resolve it. Or if you want to go with the set options, then go with the arguments basis and define this. Okay. So I'll go with the dictionary because that is what the author also recommends. So if you see his samples, so this is a dictionary pattern. So he is also going with the double asterisk. He has also shown up a set, but I rarely see his other scripts being used, or I think he has also removed it. He has kept one single universal way instead of confusing the people. So this is a good method of mapping. So I'll take this set method and I would go with SSH123, call the function, keyword argument, take this, keep it here. I believe SSH should be good. To check whether SSH is good or not, what I can do is, without writing further lines, let's try to see whatever I've written so far, it's good or not. So I'll execute this. Oh, sorry, this is to be executed. So right click and then run this. See, this is what the error you get, because the connect handler is trying to match with one of the right template, but you get the error unsupported device type. So do you recall where that came from? That came from this function.
Yeah, device type we should implement Cisco, right, in this case.
Yes. So that error occurred because of this else statement of the connect handler. Unsupported device type, currently supported, and a long list of all supported nature. So if you fall under this, error will occur. If you fall under if statement, then you will get into the SSH dispatcher and the SSH should trigger up. So to fix that, I'll just backfill with one of the right answer. So we know it's a Cisco type. So let's see for Cisco what we have. So it's neither a FTD, neither a Nexus. It's a Cisco iOS. I'll take that and I'll keep it here. And let's say that I purposefully make a problem with my username, my password. Okay. Now let's see what the error would look like. So will it still show me the template or it will show me some other error?
Password authentication, right? So,
yeah. See, right now what is happening? Once the password is bad, it says me that device is failing because of authentication error. So while you start preparing your script, remember the error is also a good symbol to show you what mistake you're making. Don't don't get surprised by seeing so many red lines and start counting this line. See, it might show you issues at some different lines, but at the end you just scroll them and check the last few lines. So when you see them, you get the exact error to read. So you will understand what exactly is going on. It says that authentication failed and the code is 1, not 0. 0, I told you, is a good symbol, but 1 is not a good symbol. So as it says authentication, we will come back, we will fix the username. What if I make a mistake with the IP addressing? Because if this is not existing in my network, let's see, the error might also be different. It will give you timeout issue or some other problems it will start. See, now it says that device is not reachable. It is a timeout issue. One of those three could be the reason. Either my firewall is blocking the connection between the PyCharm and the device. There could be a wrong TCP port enabled. There could be a wrong host name or IP address, but it's a timeout issue. So that should give me a clue that there could be a wrong mismatch IP. So now I fix this. I fix this. We have all the necessary things. So I'll run this.
Sagar, just quick question. Single quote password is okay, or do we have to do double quote password?
It is, after all, the string representation. We can go with anything.
Okay.
See,
No, thanks.
yeah, this is
But
also
actually,
good.
it is ideally we should keep the same across the script as per PIP. PEP guidelines, right? So
See, both are same.
if you're
When
using
it's
a single, we should keep single throughout the.
nothing like that, what it means is, if you start with one format, then you have to end with the same format. You cannot end with this. This is a violation. Whereas if you go with few lines this, few lines this, it is totally acceptable. But you cannot have this thing that you started with a double, but you end with a single.
Oh, understood.
Okay. Okay, so now you see that we are successfully connected. There is no error. You can give some print statement like successfully login, successful login, whatever. That print occurs only when the connection was good. Now I'll show you, once the device is been connected, you wanted to fetch the host name. What you can do is you can refer to the transport channel name. You can say find prompt. This is a function of NetMiko, and you can print that host name. Now you're within that device. Okay, you're within that device, and now you're trying to trigger the commands. See, now you have the host name, but there is something which is added upon to this, which is not good for you. You cannot add this in title or audit report or something, and you have to take down that. So to take down that, we have two methods. I'll show you the slicing method. So what happens in slicing method is, you say this as new host name, your old host name, put the indexing concept. You will start with 0, but you want to discard that last bit and you want to take the new host name print. See, now you have a good host name. This you can add it to the backup file, or if you're making the Excel report, you can use them. Let me also show the second method, which is called the strip method. I'll just gray out the slicing representation. What happens in strip is, I will give some delimiter and I will say, I don't need this, totally remove that. Say, for example, new so and so, my old this, strip with what? Let's say strip with this, whatever, wherever you see this as a delimiter, take that out. If that was a pound symbol, dollar symbol, then accordingly you will change this. You will keep some different delimiter there.
So it is a default that with connect handler, whenever you ask to for the host name, it's always going to add the pound. That's the privilege mode.
Yes, that is the behavior. Not the user privilege. It can be enable mode also. It depends on what user you logged in. If this user is 0 to 14 privilege, then you will get the angular bracket for this particular thing. If you were a root 15 user, then you will get that hash symbol. Okay, say for example, if you check this terminal, I think we can initiate a connection. When I say Cisco, the first thing that I see is this thing because I logged in with the 15 user privilege and it will show me the complete thing.
No,
Okay,
that I understood, but it is
yeah.
with the connect handler, it's always going to, whenever you ask for the host name, it's always going to have either the enable or privilege.
Correct. And that will always make the problem. So we have to use one of the way to get rid of that.
Understood.
Or there is other ways to also take them because you know that here in Cisco we can run the commands like this, which will give us the output without those things, but there would be some unwanted characters or words. So to fetch only the data, we can apply some concept of regex, regular expression, and then we can take this data as well. But that will come in your advanced classes. This is one of the simplest way to start for now.
So, Sagar, what is this find prompt does actually in this case?
Find
Like,
prompt is making use of your way to find the host name there. It's a block. It's a function. You have to check the source code. So if you
okay,
go
like
here,
earlier we were using indexing kind of thing, right? That
no, I'll show here. See, find prompt is here. This is a block which is defined by the author.
okay.
Okay. So he is also running some sort of see if pattern is so and so. Okay. Then he says that check that and get the response for you.
Okay.
So it's a block which is defined. We are only calling that block in our script.
Okay, that means now whatever is matching with that host name, if you go back to that script, it is only looking for that host name part, correct? So
Yes.
see SSH 123 in that it is fetching our device information. I mean, it is logged into that. So after that, it initiates a connection and looks for how does it look for host name in this case? Host name 123 is a variable, correct?
Yes, this is a variable and this
So
is a block.
correct. But find prompt, where do we define to search a host name? Does
See,
it?
see there what happens here is there are certain connections that happens in the backend.
Okay.
One second. See, for example, your PyCharm is here and your devices on the remote side. Okay. There are 5 steps that will occur. So the first step is you triggered SSH from PyCharm to the device.
Okay.
Once the connection is successful, let me keep this arrow mark. Once the SSH is successful, then what happens is you send some command from PyCharm. Let's say you're sending some show command. That will go in a write manner. It's a write over on the transport channel. When you're fetching back in that variable hostname 123, that comes in a read mode. When you send another command, it goes in a write mode. When you fetch something, it comes back in a read mode.
Okay.
So let's say for the first connection, where you are taking the SSH, of course, it's a write method itself. And then the transport channel SSH 123 is established. So once that SSH 123 is established, you will refer that to write the next things. Let's say in this case, we are writing prompt, which ultimately will make use of some commands and fetch us the host name. So it's a write mode on SSH123. While we are fetching that, we are still making SSH123, which is the transport channel name. But now we are going with the read because we are collecting that output and displaying in the output terminal of the PyCharm. Okay,
Okay.
so this read and write keeps on happening throughout until your script is disconnected.
Okay. So now the thing is find prompt now just only identifies the host name, isn't it? Or is it
Yes, yes. Only host name. That is why that block is
not the
there.
serial number or MAC address, right?
No,
That
no,
is
no.
not.
For
Okay.
that, you have to put the show command separately.
Okay. I think they are coming up with other modules like
Yes, they
fetching
are
those.
they are coming. So you need to search for something called uh, send command. This is the one.
Okay. Send command. Okay.
So send command, see this block, this function. This is where you will put show run, show MAC address, show version, all
Yeah,
rest of
send config set and send commands, right? So that
yeah,
is okay. Okay. But
yeah.
for stretching explicitly the MAC address and the serial number, it is still in development. Something.
Uh, from the NetMiko side, yes, there is no ready-made templates for only fetching that, but we can
Okay.
apply regex and we can fetch it. The
Oh, that
one which
is
you
there.
are,
Yeah.
yeah, the one which you are asking, just to fetch the expected thing, or just we put some name and it will fetch. That is available in the NEPAM library. So NEPAM library has both. We can run the native show commands, or they have
Okay.
their own templates. Using those templates, we can fetch either ARC table or MAC address table. I'll just show you here. So might be you were asking these templates. So you don't need to remember any show command. You will put show fact and you will get the details in a JSON method, JSON format.
Okay. That means this is a completely different module. Not we have to
This
import
is
NEPAM
yeah,
and get it. Okay.
this is totally different module.
Okay.
Okay,
Understood.
but we don't have this in the NetMiko. In the NetMiko, we have to remember the commands. Okay, and
Okay.
also nothing like for MAC address, I have a ready-made thing and I keep like MAC address and I can easily fetch it. It don't work that way. It works in a traditional manner. I will say send command, and within the
Okay.
send command, I will put my IP routing table or whatever I want to fetch it.
Okay. So the Sagar, this another question. Like now, see, this is you are executing from a device and on the a local network that is having the reachability to the device. Correct.
Mhm.
In our in scenario, now I am connected to a jump host. I don't have the accessibility. I mean, I don't have capability to install any tools on that. I'm initiating through jump host. In that case, this script will work, or should additional things should come up there?
You should add some additional thing. There is one block by NetMiko, but again,
Okay.
that works only in the NetMiko scenario. Okay, the
Okay.
other modules may not have it. There is something called as redispatch. So in the
Okay.
redispatch, what happens is you will take the connection from your machine to that jump server, and then you take the second connection.
Okay.
This is the one. Dynamically change the NetMiko. So you first take the connection and then you prepare for the second.
Okay. That comes. That will be part of same script. No additional. I mean, no sleep time need to be added into that. Correct? Or should it be added? Like, how do you do in general scenario?
You have to add two blocks, two dictionary blocks you have to add. First dictionary for taking the access of the jump host, and second dictionary for the device perspective.
Okay. Okay. Got it. That is only on RDP and the device thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
All right. So see, what I will just do is I'll just revert back to the prompt. And see, regarding the script, as I told you, when I discuss some script, that script I will take in a empty sheet and I'll keep like this. Okay. Connect handler, find prompt, strip method. So let's say this was the script one. So this will go to your web portal, which you can download, and if you want, you take printout, and at the time of going back with the video, you have it with you. Guys, it's 10:45 now. So you want me to continue for some more time, or you think we should start in the next week? Next weekend, I mean. What time are you all right now? Might be I will show you some more iteration for the day, because you have 4 to 5 days left. You can practice. Then we can take a wind up and we will see the next thing from the next Saturday. Okay. So on the existing script itself, I'll just show you few more features. So let's say I want to fetch, or let's say I want to fetch something. So let's say fetch 123 equals to SSH 123 send command. Now you might think that I can give multiple CLI command to this, but that will not work. You need to understand how the developer would have coded this. So the good thing about these IDs, which you don't have in the idle, is if you hover on this block, it will start giving you the automated fetch documentation. So if you check the send command block without going to the source code, it says that it can only take a string. String means only one data. So I cannot add a list. If you start adding list, it will give you some error. I'll show you now. If you have a list added up, so you will get this error. It will say that the list is not a proper thing. So what is a proper thing? Only string is a proper thing. You can have only one data kept inside. Now, if you run, you will get the output of show clock. See, or if you replace this with IP int brief, you will get the output of show IP int brief. Okay, but you will not see those command which you are executing. So that will be a problem later on to understand what that output for. And also, since you don't have multi show command option, so we have to make a way. So we will make use of that list and for loop concept here. So I'll say multiple CLI 1, 2, 3, and keep all these individual commands within a list method. Show clock, and let me just keep one more thing for now. Show run. Let's say host name. I'll insert the for loop for single CLI in multiple CLI. As I told you, this will be kept in an indentation block within the for loop. This is what is acting as a placeholder at a time. So we can keep it here now. Okay. And also, to know which output it's getting collected for, we can keep it a label output for so and so command, and we can also give some banners. Okay, some banners. It's just a banner to make it look better. Let's say 10 repeats of it. This needs to be multiplied by 10 times, like some 10 sort of arrow marks. So let me show you how that results in. See, like this. Okay, this is what I say. That's all. You change the symbol, it will also change it. See, now if you see this, you have output for so and so. This is the output. You have the output for show clock, the second command, and then you have the host name output. Okay. The backup thing I'll show in the next class. Let me once show you if there were multiple devices. So we have done the nested for loop concept, right? So let's say I keep multiple device here, multiple device, 1, 2, 3, and I keep this device over on the list method. I make use of the for loop, single device in multi-device, and I keep all of these lines within them. Okay. Even the second for loop. It should be part of the parent for loop. Most of people do a mistake here. They don't bring the second one and then they say that they are unable to fetch. Now, what is IP? IP is nothing but single device here. Okay, so one at a time. Once it's been SSH'd, it will go through all this process. Then it will go back. Second device will process until the last entry is found or not. You remember the flow diagram, right? Is that the last element? If it is the last element or it's the last element is over, then this will come out of it. So we can keep a print statement at the end saying job is completed. And then we run this. See, we forgot to add one print statement to see which device is contacted. Right now, we don't understand. It's fetching for one device first. This is the one device, R02. Okay, till here is one device. And then the second device. What I will do is I'll take one more IP so that the output looks different for them. Show IP int brief 28204. And also I'll make a nice print statement. We can just take reference from here and we can keep it here, somewhere here. Okay. Success, or I could have kept along with the successful login itself. Why to make one more line? I can say successful login and what device? Let's say single device, this one. And then I'll execute it so that it will show us where I have logged in. See, successful login to this. We have the host name. We are capturing the output for 3 commands. Then we go with output successful. See, this is the second device. You can put those delimiters, okay, like those banner messages, etc. using print statement. You can add it at the end as well.
So that which of the line make it possible for us to print the output from two device, from multiple device? Which of this line make it possible for the output to come for the multiple device, not only one device? Because I do have that challenge.
I didn't get you. These are happening on both the devices as of now.
Yeah, but it's okay.
See,
Yeah, what I'm okay.
yeah, this is
My
the
question,
first. Yeah, go ahead.
okay, my question is that this output is coming from two routers.
Yes.
Which of the line in this our script make it possible for us to get outputs from two routers? I mean, which of the print statements make it possible?
That is this one.
Which one?
It's the send command. This is the function. This is the block where the exact command is getting fetched by the device to device. Rest are all the Python theory what we did. This is a list.
But is there any way we can get this script, this sample script, or we just still have to read, go through the video to be able to write it, or do you have it somewhere?
Yeah, I am taking the script in this file, which I'll attach to the learning portal.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so that we can practice with it again.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
So here, this send command is the one the block that is processing. All right, guys, I think we will wind up for now. So is there any doubt with the script?
Yeah, they are
Any?
fine. I think we just need to study to maybe
No, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to practice this in the lab. I mean, if I get the
Practice.
access.
All right. Sure. Okay. So they
Sagar,
yeah.
yeah, please go ahead. Then I will ask.
Yeah, actually the backend would be off on Sunday, but tomorrow morning they'll get your access done.
Yeah, please ask for
Okay.
FI and fellow as well. Please.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Yeah, Sagar, slicing and strip, right? Is there any specific corner case that we have to use slicing, or it can be like we can always go for strip, because slicing is more like, you need to understand indexing and all these things, but strip is like you need to you just give that pattern and then it will take it out.
No, there are certain case where you need to go with this. The limitation of this is they only works on extreme right and extreme left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anything in if you want to take it at the center or something, that will not work. So let's say if this is what I have it, and if I would want to take out the left hand side.
Mhm.
Okay. So you took the left hand side by representing this. Or if I have to take the right hand side, then I say that and I remove that. There's another flavor which is called, let's say, what if the same thing you had on both the side, but you wanted to take it out only at the left hand side. So you can do this left strip that takes out on the left, but not on the right. Similar way, there is a right strip which would take on the right hand side, but not on the left. The only down limit is it can only work on the extreme left or extreme right. But with the slicing, you can also break it and get it something from very center. So in that cases, you need slicing.
Okay, understood. So is there any like sort of command or something that we can get, like what's the indexing number? So suppose like if I have like 50 devices or something like that, right? And I want to know
Yes,
which one is on the 25th.
yes, we have this one. Let me see. We can see like how we give a index and fetch the data. So similar way, we can also give the data and fetch the index. Say for example, as you said, I have multiple device 1.1.1, 2.2.2, 3.3.3. So I was referring to list and I was referring to some index, and with that I was fetching the data. But if you go another way, let's say you have to fetch the index from the data. So you can go with index command. You can specify 3.3.3, and this you can print it to understand where that data is located. See, now it's located at this.
Okay, thank you. Can you please include that in slide?
Yeah, I will do this.
Thank you.
Also,
Thank
can I ask you in PyCharm, it gives you option about, what you can type next or at that particular point.
Yes.
So how do you get that?
That is auto enable. That is what the benefit of going with the professional tools. Okay. Idle terminals, notepad, sublime, this will not have that auto pop-up. But when it comes to Microsoft Visual Studio and PyCharm, the minute you have called the library, when you have called the library, and if let's say you're trying to write some module from that, it will start auto populating. Say for example, I said 1, 2, 3 dot, it will give me all the possible options from that. So this doesn't mean it is giving you all the way from Python community. It is only significant because you call this library, and it will only significant to this itself. So let's say
Oh.
you use another module and you're writing some blocks, you might press a character and it will give you the auto pop-ups which are relevant to that module itself. Okay, so this by default it comes to you.
Oh, okay.
But actual developers don't prefer, right? So they ask us to, my instructor told to use IDLE, right? So
Okay.
it's kind of cheating. That's what he was telling.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, once you are aware, then yes, you don't need to have any auto pop-up. You will exactly remember like what module will, what function will do that, and you can just call that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. So reference, I'll keep it separately, which you can refer, and I've put this index as well. Okay. So I'll attach it in the video portal. You can take it from there. All right, guys. So have a nice day and have a good weekdays ahead.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sagar.